I used to be super routine in my daily routine. I would wake up, go on my phone, brush my teeth, get ready for the day, eat breakfast, and then start work or go to classes. But over the course of a year, I found the tips and tricks that would suddenly make my morning routine much more efficient, not only reducing my screen time by half, but allowing me to be able to get twice as much work done. If my routine sounds like yours right now, be sure to listen to the advice coming up in this video, especially the last tip, because I wish I would have known this a year ago. Hi, my name is Michael. I'm a student at Brown University, and welcome back to my channel. If you want to support the channel and have any personalized self-development advice that you'd like to hear from me, reach out to me at Minnect in the description below. So, the first tip or principle that I would recommend to fix our morning routine and stop scrolling is to plan our day on Google Calendar the night before. This is the first recipe to make sure that we can efficiently and effectively do the tasks that we need to do for the day. If I go into a day without planning anything, like I make the excuse of saying it's a weekend so I don't have to put anything on my calendar, our body and our minds will literally just go to the path of least resistance. So if I were to say put a block of nothing after my 9 to 5, then most likely I would just go home and watch TV, go on my phone, or do something unproductive or not something productive for the long-term growth of my life. But if I go on Google Calendar, what I have right now is a time to get ready, a time to eat lunch, a time to eat dinner, a time for when I have to go to work or school, a time when I want to do some sort of thing on the side, like my YouTube channel, a time when I want to go to the mall, a time when I want to hang out with friends. And by looking at my week like this, I can set up recurring events that happen every week so I can make the process less tedious, but I can tell myself that I have something to do at this time, and in a way, I'm planning out my structure for the day, and thus will be able to do all the tasks that I want to. Now, it's not a perfect world, so I never follow my calendar to the T. It's very easy to get off track, but just having that plan in mind for the day is something super important, and I find it to be super useful in giving me guidance, because me the night before knew what I was supposed to do today, and ultimately, as long as I get the big stuff done at the beginning of the day, the rest of the day should be smooth sailing. Now, heading into principle 2 is that, as in principle 1, it begins the night before. We should power off our phone before we go to sleep. When I wake up, what I would used to do is go on my phone and have an alarm that I would turn off. But this is a trap, because our phones are designed to hook us in and to keep us doing activities for as long as possible. This is something that we need to stop right in its tracks. So the first thing I do is I bought a physical alarm clock from Walmart because I'm a heavy sleeper and that will always wake me up. I also bought a sunrise alarm clock, which emulates the rising of the sun so that I can try to wake up as naturally as possible before my physical alarm clock wakes me up. Besides that, I also power off my phone physically and put it in a drawer in my room. So in that way, I'm not tempted to see it and thus unlock it or power it on to use it. And by doing this, and by not allowing myself to open my phone until I have to do my habits for the day that require the use of my phone, such as meditation, I'm able to literally half my screen time. I swear it was about 6 hours, 7 hours per day or more at times. And just by not allowing myself to go on my phone until I did the stuff that I needed to do for the day, or the stuff that I knew that I wanted to do for the long-term development of myself, I was able to cut it to around 3 to 4 hours per day. And this in itself was a huge game changer because I felt like I was being more purposeful with my life. I felt like my life had more direction. And honestly, some of the screen time on my phone is doing the meditation that I wanted to do, or looking up some stuff on Safari because I wanted to research some topic. But in general, I would always recommend to minimize the use of our phone by just powering it off, maybe even leaving it home if we have to just go for classes for the day, and just experimenting to see how long can we go off our phone, like a little game. Principle 3 is to wake up and immediately get to work. When I say that we have to immediately get to work, I mean immediately get to work. When I planned out my day, I take the biggest, most important task that I have and I do it before I have any sort of other obligation. So if I have work that from 9 to 5, or if I have a class that I need to get to in the morning for school, and I want to record a video, then what I would do is I would set my alarm for about an hour or two before I have to get to that obligation, and then I would use that specifically to record the video that I wanted to do. This eating the frog, as they call it, is the best way to avoid procrastination, because inherently there is no procrastination to deal with. There's no looming feeling that feels so terrible of us going and waiting throughout the day to do the one task that we know we have to get done, but we haven't gotten done yet. By just waking up, going straight into our tasks without doing our morning routine, because that's a distraction as well, and then doing our morning routine and our other activities after, we can feel good about ourselves that we have already accomplished the biggest task for the day. And ultimately, living life this way has made me feel so much better about myself, and I'm sure it can make everybody watching this feel the same way. For example, this can apply not only to some sort of side project that we love to have, but our work in general. If we have a big school assignment and we know we have to start writing an essay or drafting an essay, then we can wake up tomorrow morning and plan an outline for the essay immediately and give ourselves this necessary time to do so. For example, I would recommend about 2 hours of work specifically, and then giving time, of course, to do a morning routine before we get on with the day. But again, this isn't necessarily going to fit everyone's schedule. So right now, what I've been doing this summer is trying to give myself at least an hour as I try to fix my sleep schedule and adjust it to the work that needs to get done in my life. And finally, the fourth principle to stop scrolling and love hard work: skip breakfast, period. Now, when I say skip breakfast, what I mean is that we should skip breakfast and eat lunch, or our first meal of the day, only when we finished our hardest task for the day and our good habits. So, in general, breakfast and the hormone cycle that humans have, it relies on a cycle of 2 hormones, ghrelin and leptin. And when you look into research done on these topics, you can see that if we stop eating one meal for the day at a specific time, like breakfast, the first few days we're going to have that spike in ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone, and we're going to feel hungry. However, over the course of the next few days, our body will adjust from eating 3 meals a day, such as breakfast, lunch, and dinner, to 2 bigger meals per day, such as lunch or dinner. Now, the reason that I stopped eating breakfast is because eating in general is such a huge amount of time that we have to dedicate, especially to our breakfast. When I used to eat breakfast during my university years or my junior year, I would have this time where I would get up, I would set apart 15 minutes on my calendar just to eat breakfast, and it honestly wasn't even a good breakfast. It was honestly like some muesli and some oats, and it really wasn't that tasty. So what I do now is I simply get up, get my work done, and then as soon as I'm able to get all my other good habits done, such as meditation, stretching, you can even go into other habits like reading if you really want to, then those habits are going to get done first, and that is when I allow myself to eat lunch. Now, what this means is that my lunch can be delayed until 2, 4, even 6 p.m. sometimes if I'm just trying to do work and I'm captivated by it. But this also means that, in general, I tend to eat less, and it's a very easy way to stay lean and in shape throughout the summer or throughout the whole year while getting an efficient amount of work done. It's honestly an insane hack. Also, by incentivizing myself with food and the first meal of the day, I inherently have no dopamine that is going to prevent me from saying that I don't want to do this hard work. Because inherently, if I go on my phone, that's a source of dopamine. If I eat breakfast, that's a source of dopamine. If I do anything that's very stimulating, that's a source of dopamine. And doing hard work or doing tasks that we generally try to procrastinate give us a very small amount of dopamine compared to these ideas and activities that could flood our brains with dopamine. So by avoiding them and by only pushing them off until later in the day as a reward for the hard work that we've been doing in the morning, we are able to love the hard work that we do because we get that rush of dopamine, and then we get to do the things that we want to do on our phone. We get to read, we get to do anything else we want to for the day. So inherently, if we want to even further extend this, we could just not try to unlock our phone for the entire day and go sort of MIA. But that's an experiment we can work on later. And that's it, guys. The 4 principles to stop scrolling and love hard work. If you want to have more personalized advice and support the channel, again, go to Minnect in the link in the description and feel free to chat with me there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.